I told my family I'd rather be homeless than give my sister 1 cent, and my dad called me dead to him at Christmas dinner. I need you to understand something about me before any of this makes sense. I am 24 years old, and I have not received a single dollar from my family since I was 16. Not for school, not for food, not for the emergency room visit when I fractured my wrist working a warehouse job at 19. I set my own splint with duct tape and a ruler, and drove myself to urgent care the next morning because I couldn't afford the ambulance. That's who I am. That's who they made me into. Growing up, my parents treated money like a religion, and my older sister, Giovanna, was the congregation's favorite. She got a car at 16. She got study abroad in Barcelona at 20. She got her wedding paid for at 23. All $47,000 of it. I know the number because my mom mentioned it at the rehearsal dinner like it was a badge of honor. I was eating gas station sandwiches 3 meals a day that same year, trying to finish my welding certification. Nobody told me to go into welding. Nobody told me to do anything. When I was 16, my dad sat me down and said, Giovanna has a harder path because she's sensitive, and I was built tougher, so I'd need to make my own way. He said it like he was giving me a compliment, like being abandoned was a gift. So I made my own way. I got my certifications. I worked pipeline jobs, offshore rigs, 70-hour weeks in places that smelled like rust and diesel. I lived in a van for 4 months to save on rent. By 24, I had $34,000 in savings, a credit score I built from nothing, and a deposit on my first apartment. Nobody clapped. Nobody noticed. Then Giovanna's husband, Arlo, left. Walked out 3 months after the wedding my parents bankrolled. Giovanna moved back home, couldn't work, couldn't get out of bed. I felt bad for her. Genuinely. Divorce is brutal, and she didn't ask for it. But what happened next is where I stopped feeling bad. My parents decided Giovanna needed a fresh start. New apartment, first and last month's rent, furniture, a leased car. My mom called me in November and asked if I could contribute to Giovanna's recovery fund. I said, what recovery fund? She said the family is pulling together, and we were hoping you could put in around $5,000 from the kid who never got a dime, for the sister who got everything. I said no. My mom sighed and said she figured I'd say that, but asked me to at least think about it before Christmas. Christmas comes, my parents' house, Giovanna is already there, my cousin Ren is there, my uncle's family, my grandpa, tree is up, music is playing. It almost looks like a family that works. Dinner starts fine. Then my dad stands up and says he wants to say something. He talks about how family means sacrifice, how Giovanna is brave for starting over. Then he looks directly at me and says he hopes everyone at this table remembers that family isn't about what's convenient, it's about what's right. That was aimed at me. Everyone knew it. Ren looked down at her plate. My grandpa sipped his wine like he was trying to drown in it. Giovanna looked at me. Would it really have killed you to help after everything mom and dad did for us? I put my fork down. What exactly did they do for me? She blinked. They raised you. They raised you. They funded you. They carried you. They told me I was tough enough to carry myself, and I did. Every dollar I have is mine. I didn't get a car. I didn't get Barcelona. I didn't get a $47,000 wedding. I got a fractured wrist and a van. My mom started crying. This isn't about keeping score. It was never about keeping score for me. It became about keeping score when you asked me for $5,000 you never once thought to spend on me. My dad stood up, face red. If you can sit at this table, eat our food, and refuse to help your sister at her lowest, then you are dead to me. Dead to me. His actual words. To the kid who never asked him for anything. To the kid who built everything from the ground up while he wrote checks for Giovanna's entire life. I stood up, didn't yell, didn't throw anything. I just said if I'm dead to you, then I've been dead to you since I was 16. You're just finally saying it out loud. I picked up my jacket, walked past my mother reaching for me, past Giovanna who wouldn't look up, past my grandpa who grabbed my hand for 1 second and then let go. 3 days later, my grandpa mailed me a letter, no return address. Inside was a check for $600 and a note that said, you were always the one I worried about most. Not because you're weak, because nobody ever let you be. I folded the note into my wallet and haven't spoken to my parents or Giovanna since.